So welcome to the Budget and Wealth Masterclass. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you all. My name is James Huntley, and we're going to get straight into it. All right, so who is this training for? It is for an individual who is looking to build wealth. You're really tired of feeling like, you overspend and you're not able to manage your money properly. Um, you're ready to get organized with your money. You're ready to begin budgeting. And you want to learn how to really level up your money and really grow your account. So, who is this training not for? I'm going to tell you right now, it is not for an individual who is trying to get rich quick, right? With the things that I'm teaching, it's not a get rich quick scheme. If you're not willing to change some of the financial habits that you have, or if you are closed minded, this training is not for you. As well as if you think it is going to be easy just to all of a sudden wake up and start building wealth, it does not work like that. Work has to be done, intention and purpose has to take place in order for you to begin actually building wealth and getting organized. All right, so my promise to you is that I'm going to deliver as much value as I can in the amount of time that this training session takes, right? I'm going to be sharing some real world examples with some people who I have actually worked with to get organized, to begin budgeting, and to actually start growing their account. Um, and I'm 100% dedicated to helping you guys grow, to helping you guys improve. And I hope that this training session is very valuable for you. All right, so there's one thing or a few things that I'm going to ask for in return. The first thing is to avoid distractions during this training. I want you to lock in with me, right? Taking this time out to you all, so I really want to help you all. So please lock in with me for these maybe next 40 to 60 minutes. Um, I want you to take the info that you learn from this session and actually begin implementing it, trying some stuff out, and not just taking in information and just letting it sit. I want you to not be stingy as well. I want you to share this information out with some of your friends, some of your family, your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, whoever it may be, because I think it'll really help them if they're not already doing some of these things. And then, it would be a blessing, really be a true blessing if you all would let me know how much value you got out of this training session, as well as share on social media, let other people know that this training session was actually helpful. All right, so today you are going to be learning the top 3 mistakes that can keep you financially stuck and financially frustrated, right? You're going to be learning why you're not able to actually have a cushion in your bank account and what you need to do instead in order to allow yourself to improve your own finances. And I'm going to be sharing my step-by-step basic framework, simple, very simple to learn and use in order to get you financially organized and for you to actually start building wealth. All right, so I will introduce myself, but I want to get right into the content. So let's talk about the mistakes, the top 3 mistakes that can actually keep you financially stuck. All right, so number 1 is going to be budgeting in your head. Well, what do I mean by budgeting in your head? Well, all of your income that you make is in your head. So you may say, I make $50,000 a year, right? And you know roughly about how much you bring in from that amount after taxes. But you don't write it down. You don't take note of each time that the income comes in. You just have it kind of stuck in your head. And then when you go to make purchases and to buy something very small or buy something very big, you don't take note of it, you don't write it down. You just take note of it in your head. You know that you can spend roughly a certain amount, um, and that's pretty much all you do, and you don't write anything down. And then um, how much you save and how much you invest. These things are just done in your head, or it's kind of in the back of your mind, and you're like, well, I do save maybe $100 a month or $200 a month, but nothing is taken down, or no notes are taken from any of these transactions. All right, so what happens if you continue making this mistake of just budgeting in your head? Well, you can begin to forget about small expenses. And this is something that I used to do so much. It's like, I don't know, you go to the store and grab something super quick, or you get some candy out of the gas station, or you buy something, or yeah, you give a gift to someone, and it's very quick, very short notice, and over time it kind of builds up, and you forget to take note of it. You spend more than you make. So you bring in $100, you spend $200. And also, you have no money left over for, first of all, emergencies. So you have no emergency fund, or you don't have any money for your financial goals. So that can be anything from wanting to save for a house, or wanting to go on a big vacation, or wanting to actually start an investment property, or whatever it may be. You don't have money set aside for these financial goals. All right. So what happens when you stop making this mistake, right? Well, first of all, you are able to track all of your income. And you can track all of the money going out for your expenses. You can plan to spend less than you make, right? When you're able to budget and write things down, you know exactly what your limit is for each purchase that you make. Whether that is for groceries, you set a limit. So you know exactly what you cannot go over on that. Um, so you have more control, right? You make plans for big purchases. So if you're going to splurge shop, um, or get 2 pairs of shoes, or whatever it may be, and just go crazy for a period of time, you can make plans to do that. Or if you want to go on a vacation and spend a bunch of money, you have planned to do that. So you're not confused about where your money is going. And then you are confident, right? You are very, very confident about where your money is going. One of the most frustrating things that has happened to me, and who has happened to some of the people that I work with, is that they cannot determine where all their money went. They just know that they received a paycheck, and before they knew it, their money was gone out and about, but they don't know exactly, they couldn't tell you exactly what they spent it on. Alright, so here is actually one of the people that I worked with. His name is Jordan. And he states he went through basically my 4-week program, and he stated that he has never looked at his finances the way that he looked after coming through this program. Now I can actually know where my money is going. And so I'm going to play a clip from our encounter, and really let you hear, some of the frustration and some of the things that we deal with when we're trying to budget and turn our finances around.
Definitely helped a lot, bro. Cause one thing I've always had a problem with is organization, bro. I've never been organized with my money. I've always had a mindset of make sure I'm bringing in more than I'm spending. But was I actually actively doing that was the problem. You know what I'm saying? Cause I will always find myself like, boom, one moment I'll make a lot of money. And I'll hold on to it for a while, bro. And it's like, you would think like the time that I'm holding on to it, I would be increasing my value. And it's not. It's slowly depleting. Even if I'm working, I end up finding myself broke somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? So like, you definitely helped a lot with just the budgeting and teaching me how to budget and different stuff like that. So yeah.
And so yeah, like you said, what you don't want to do is find yourself in a situation where you are spending, and all of a sudden you find yourself broke. Even though you're making good money, it's all going out. So this is what we're trying to avoid.
Definitely helped a lot, bro. Like, cause like one thing I've always had
Having a few technical difficulties. Bear with me. There we are. All right. So hello guys. My name is James Huntley. As I kind of went through quickly. I'm 100% debt free, and I just want to talk to you all so you know who I am and kind of my background. I have a degree in civil engineering. I've been a mentor and leader for the past 10 years. Um, and I love helping people grow. I love helping you reach your goals or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Um, I increased my income by $15,000 and decreased my expenses by $6,000 in a year's period of time, um, which has been amazing. I adopted the good to great mentality, and what I mean by that is I didn't say I'm okay with being average. I want to be excellent at everything that I do, and so um, adopting that mentality has really helped me. And then what should have been stated really first is that Christ, my family, my friends is really the reason why I'm here today and how I have developed into the individual that I am today. So really, I want to show gratitude to them for allowing me to be the person I am. All right, but it hasn't always been this way. In high school, coming through and going through college, I got into about $8,000 of debt, along with having some bad spending habits. Um, I was very, very unorganized, and this is not even budgeting. We're not even talking about budgeting. We're talking about being able to keep up with paperwork. We're talking about being able to um, keep up with all my notes and just a bunch of things as far as school was concerned. Very, very unorganized. I felt like my bank account, my money, my wealth pot was never growing. As soon as I made money, I would literally go buy clothes, buy shoes, um, and wipe out the money that I had made from my job. I had the good mentality. Everything was okay as long as I was average. And this mindset could have uh, been along with the sports that I played. I thought I was pretty good, but I wasn't that elite individual. Um, and then another thing is I hated reading and learning. I found books to be very boring, and I did not want to take the time to learn from someone who was a lot more experienced than I was. So those were some things that took place back in the day. So this is why today, by realizing the importance of budgeting, by realizing the importance of um, taking it to the next level and really focusing in and zoning in on those details, is why I'm so passionate about really helping other people grow, helping them avoid being unorganized, avoid being average, I want you to start being self-disciplined. I want you to be stress-free financially, and of course debt-free without any frustration or some of the hassle um, that I went through. So the faster you can get on it, the better. All right, so mistake number 2 is that you have big goals, but you don't have a plan, right? You have no plan. And so what do I mean by this? Well, I'm going to give you some examples. You may say you want to have an emergency fund of $7,000, and you have no plan to actually be able to come up with that amount of money. You want to build wealth, so to speak. So, whatever that means. You want to pay off student loans and credit cards, but you are not actively doing anything to actually achieve these big goals. And let me tell you, these are very, very big goals. Like having $7,000 in an emergency fund just available just in case your car breaks down, um, or you have to have a medical surgery or anything. Having that amount of money is awesome. And doing some reading, and there are a ton of Americans who do not have $1,000 into their account in case for an emergency. So if you are in that situation, it is okay. Um, but I would challenge you, if you're trying to get out of that and to prepare for things like emergency funds, to start beginning to not just say, I wish I had some cash saved up just in case something went wrong, but actually begin taking steps to make that a reality. So what happens if you can continue to have big goals and no plan? Well, first of all, you lose time. Time is crucial. So let me give you an example. If I say I want to have $1,200 saved at the end of the year, right? And we're in January, and by December, I want to have that amount of money into my account. Well, if I don't do anything or don't make any plans or don't take any steps to actually achieve that goal, then guess what? Uh, I'm going to lose that amount of time, right? So if I say I want to have it done and then the next year comes around and I didn't put any money, let's say $100 a month, right? Put that $100 a month in, and by December, I have that $1,200 saved into my account. Well, I would have reached my goal, but if I didn't do those things, if I didn't take any action, have a plan for getting to that end goal, then I lose that amount of time and I'm just wasting time. Or I could begin to feel discouraged, right? I feel like it's too late. And I hear this um, a whole bunch with older individuals. They say, man, I wish I was your age, or I wish I was younger. I wish I would have done things differently back then because now it is too late. Well, I would disagree with that entirely, right? It is not too late, but you must begin to take the action steps. Um, it it takes time to be able to do that, but every time that you do not actually take action, then you lose time, and then it just spirals and spirals and spirals, right? And then another thing is you have no sense of direction. So if you have this big goal, no plan, then you really don't know where to go, don't know which route to take, don't know what you should do, what questions you should ask, how you should get help. You haven't developed a plan or come up with anything to actually start getting towards your financial goals. So what happens when you stop making this mistake? Well, you're able to, first of all, define your goals. It is so, so important. Please, please, please take notes or do whatever you need to do. It's so important to define what your goals are. Because if you don't know what your goals are, you don't know what you can work towards or what you're even working towards. If you say, I just want a lot of money, what is a lot of money? Is $1,000,000 a lot of money? Is $1 a lot of money? Because if $1 is a lot of money, if you save a penny every day, you're getting, after 100 days, you've reached your goal. You're there. But if you don't have, it define what that goal is, you can't even work towards it. You can't track your progress, right? And you're not able to adjust your goals if necessary. So there may come a time when your financial goals, you may have to rearrange them or adjust your plan so that you can still reach that goal. If you haven't taken any action steps, you're not even going to know that you need to change some things, or work around some things, or you're not even going to know what you need to work around. So it's very important to, define your goals and begin coming up with a plan. All right, so here is a goals worksheet. This is something that I offer in my program, but please, 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 screenshot, think about this. I'm going to go through an example so that hopefully this is very valuable for you. So um, the worksheet kind of lists out or gets you thinking about maybe some of the goals that you have, and it lists out kind of what you need to do monthly or daily or weekly to be able to achieve some of these financial goals, right? One big financial goal for a ton of people when it comes to budgeting and when it comes to just having money and being at peace is that they want a emergency fund and they want a nice savings account, a cushion, right? And so my first question says, what amount of money in your savings account right now would make you feel comfortable? Let's say that answer is $1,200. I'm just going to keep using that example because it makes it easy. So number two says, if you had to save the amount in 1 year, how much would you need to save per month? Well, I know that if I want to have $1,200, I need to save $100 per month to reach that goal. So that means now I know my goal. I've defined my goal, right, of $1,200. Well, how can I get there? Um, Daily, weekly, monthly. Well, guess what? Monthly, I have to put $100 in. But if I don't put in, the $25 per week to get to that $100 per month, it just throws off the whole process. So it's very important to kind of list out and go through logically daily, so you can visually see how you can achieve some of these goals. So hopefully this is very helpful. Um, so yeah, next one. All right, so mistake number 3 is that you have the perfect plan, but you don't have any discipline. And I'm gonna be honest, this is the biggest one. And this is why I mentioned in the beginning who this training session is not for. Because if you're not willing to put in the work, not willing to be disciplined, it is going to be nearly impossible. Unless you're hitting the lottery or there's something crazy going on, money just doesn't come out of nowhere and just come off of trees, right? Some work, some time has to be put in to actually reaching your financial goals. So what do I mean by this? Well, you may have the perfect budget, but you still overspend, right? You write out that I can only spend, or you have all your expenses out, I can only spend $100 per month. And every month, there's a new pair of shoes, and you go over $100. So you've overspent. You didn't have self-discipline not to buy those pair of shoes that you didn't need. And so that is the outcome. You attend webinars. If you're taking in information, you're attending a training session like this one, taking in all this information, but you're doing nothing with it. It's this thing called analysis paralysis, and it's literally when you take in all this information and you don't do anything with it. It actually clutters your mind, and you feel like you don't know which steps to actually take or to take any action. And then another example would be shopping on impulse. All right, you get on Instagram, start seeing ads for clothes, start seeing commercials for food, and you just shop, 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 shop. And before you know it, you've purchased something you know you didn't need, and you know that it's out of your budget, and you're back to square one, overspending. All right, I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay. So what happens if you continue making this mistake? Well, I mentioned you overspend. You actually don't reach your financial goals. This is very, very crucial. If you are overspending and you are not staying disciplined, then you're not working to your goals daily, weekly, and monthly. And those decisions do add up. They really do. And then hopefully this does not happen. But if you are really out of control, really careless with your money, you actually begin to not be able to pay your bills, using credit cards for your bills, accepting late payments for your bills, and this is something that begins to build up too. Um, it gets you in financial trouble, so crucial. All right. So what happens when you stop making this mistake, right? Well, first thing is that if you're disciplined, there's this thing called delayed gratification, and so you take time and take time and take time. It's delayed. You're not getting this instant joy. Take some time, but over time you get delayed gratification and you begin to build some progress. So I'm gonna just give you an example. If every day you are trying to, save money, but every day you see a pair of shoes or you see some candy or whatever it may be, every day you go for that instant gratification, but you want to have a ton of money saved. Every time you do that, you take the instant gratification, but over time you don't have that cushion that you want. You don't have some of those bigger financial goals that you actually would rather have, right? So this is very important. You don't overspend. You're disciplined. You're locked in. You're like, I'm not gonna be overspending. I'm not gonna be getting caught with these ads. I'm not gonna fall for that commercial. I'm not going to go out for drinks if I know that's not within my budget, or if it wasn't planned. Um, and it also creates less stress, right? If you know exactly where your money's going, you know that you're planning properly, you know that you're doing the things that you need to be doing, you're not stressed, you're confident, and it allows for more cushion. That savings is in your budget and you're contributing. It allows for a little bit more cushion. All right, so at this point, you're probably wondering, okay, you know the mistakes, yada, yada, yada. What do I need to stop? What do I actually need to do instead? All right, you know what not to do. What can you do instead? So, I would like to introduce the 30-day wealth building framework. It's basically a three-step method that has allowed individuals as well as myself and the people that I've worked with to get financially organized, and to actually start growing their wealth pot. All right. So it looks like a pyramid, but I promise you it is not a pyramid scheme, right? The first thing on this pyramid is at the top is get organized, right? You have to be in a budget. You got to get everything organized. The next thing is make more, spend less. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then I want to zone in on this one. Um, Educate and implement. And if you notice, it's at the bottom, and this is probably one of the most important and kind of the foundation um, of this whole framework, right? The education and implementation side. Because if you're organized and you make more and spend less, but you don't implement any of the strategies, this whole thing goes down the drain. So it's very important to be able to educate yourself and then to implement. Um, all right. So step one, get organized. So what do I mean by this? Well, you have to write down your goals. It needs to be visual. Maybe not writing it down. Maybe it's on a computer, your iPad, whatever it may be. But you have it visual for you to see. It's not in your head. It's visual. Um, you are tracking your spending habits. When you go to the store, you make a note of every single purchase that you make, whether it be a quick run to the store, whether it be getting drinks and you getting drunk and just being laid out. You still wake up the next morning and note exactly what took place, how much you spent. You're tracking these habits. And then you are able to develop a budget based on some of your habits, being able to incorporate all of your income, all your expenses, and get a range for what you need to set your limits on for your budget. All right, why is this important? Well, it's definitely necessary to reach any big financial goal that you have. Um, Planning is then made easy. You know your budget, stick to your budget. Know if it's not in line with your budget. You're not guessing. Well, I wonder if I have enough to go do this. No, you know how much you have coming in. You know how much you want to save. You know your financial goals. You know exactly what you want to do. So the answer is no, unless it fits in line to what you have going on. You're not guessing. It's not a guessing game. All right. So what happens when you actually start getting organized? Well, you understand what you're working towards, right? You understand where all your money is going. You are clear. You can, if someone is to ask you, okay, where's all your money going to? You're like, well, it goes here and here and here and here. You can literally track all of it, right? And then you're able to understand your spending limits. This is very important, very humbling as well. Let me say that because you know if you make a good amount of money or whatever society says is a good amount of money, or if you don't make what society says is a good amount of money, then in either way it sets you and forces you to have limits, right? A person that makes $100,000 versus a person that makes $1,000,000 versus a person that makes $1 billion, all of those people are different, right? All of those people have different spending limits. And if they don't do that, they're going to be in the same situation that any person that is not able to manage their money is in, right? So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not able to manage your money properly, not able to be organized with your money, then eventually you're not going to be able to sustain the lifestyle that you're having. All right. So, why most people will not actually get organized? Well, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's really annoying to write down all of your goals. It's really annoying and a hassle to write down every piece of uh, thing that you buy, every source of income, and every expense that you have. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy. This is where it becomes effective to be a person who wants to be the best at what they do, whether it's in budgeting or whether it's in sports or whatever it is at their job or on campus, right? You don't want to uh, take this as a joke and just be average Joe, right? Um, we want to be documenting everything. Um, and then, you know, you're like, it's some individuals who will say, they don't spend that much money, and that is okay. Um, if you're an individual and you're fine with your finances, then cool. But if you're frustrated and wondering why you're overspending, this is not good. So, all right. So here's another budget worksheet that I have in my program. Um, Here, it's a little interesting, and I tried to make it so that you could visually uh, kind of look at budgeting in a different way, right? So I don't know if you all have ever had a conversation with yourself on your iPhone or on your cell phone, but basically it's a worksheet where you're able to write out some of your top bills that you have, your spending limit, right, and what you actually spent. And so once you're able to write these things out, um, then you can analyze, um, what you're doing, right, on a monthly basis. And so there's just 5 on this list, but we have more. Some of us have more than just 5 bills. So you could use the worksheet. It can include up to how many ever bills that you actually have. And you can check, out of the 5 bills, starting with only 5, were you able to not overspend on any of them, right? This is where the self-discipline, this is where uh, documentation helps. This is where visually you're coming and being realistic and saying, okay, yes, I'm actually, not overspending, or yes, I am overspending. Okay, I know which bill I'm actually overspending on. Let me see if I can do better next month. So it brings some accountability, right? All right. So you want to celebrate these small wins that you receive. Even if it's one bill that you didn't overspend on, that's great. All right. Um, so step number 2 is to make more and spend less. Well, what do I mean by this? Uh, one stream of income is great. Um, two sources of income is better than one. All right. The more streams of income that you have, the better. Um, how can you make more money, right? Well, you can make more money by increasing some of your certifications on your job. You can make more money by looking at ways to build a side business, ways to do side hustles, um, posting some of the things that you do just for fun, for money. Um, just things that you can do to raise that income. And then you look at ways that you can spend less money, right? We don't want to take down the quality of our life. We don't want to just be not eating, right? That's not sane. But we want to be looking at ways where, hey, can I take an alternative route and still get the same benefits for a lower price? Um, it it's very important to be able to do this. Can start asking yourself questions like, well, can I get a lower interest rate on a credit card that I have, being that I'm paying so much in interest? It's just simple things like that to take your finances up a notch and look at every single bill that you have and look at a way that you can actually cut it out or decrease it. All right, why is this important? Well, we need money for everything, right? Simple as that. And what really happens when we start doing this? Well, if we're able to make more, we're able to spend less of our money, then we have more money to work with. And so then we have less expenses to actually stress about. Um, it's not so much we gotta pay out every month, right? And it gives us some opportunities uh, to actually go towards our financial goals. So if we want to get that house, we can put more money to that house. If we want to get a part of some investments, well, now we've freed up some money to put towards those investments. If we want to have an emergency fund, well, now that we've made more and spent less, now we have some money to be able to do that. Why do most people actually not do this? And it seems, I'm saying it like it's so easy. Like you just make more money, you spend less money. Um, well, it's a hassle to actually change, right? We get stuck in our ways with everything that we do. When it comes to our phone provider, I have I think I had Sprint. Now I have T-Mobile or something like that. But I had AT&T for years. Are you willing to switch providers with the same quality of service for a cheaper price? Do you feel like actually going to the store or online and actually filling out the paperwork to do that? It's a hassle, right? No, we don't. We don't feel like doing it. We feel like it's too late. And sorry if I keep checking my other screen. I just want to make sure that the screen recording is still going. Um, we feel like it's too late to try to start making more money, right? We're just too late in our career. We should have made better decisions when we were younger. College, it's just not enough time. Have too many kids. The kids are busy, whatever it may be. I just feel like we're not able to make more money. We're not willing to make any sacrifices. Sacrifice is so important. Are you willing to take a loss at something? Um, Either way, you're going to take it because it's either going to be one of two things. Either you're going to sacrifice your your big financial goals, and you can be okay with that while being content with whatever you're doing, or you're going to sacrifice in the process of actually reaching those financial goals. So going back to my example, the $1,200 savings fund in a year, I'm gonna be honest. I do not feel like putting 100 of my hard-earned dollars to that emergency fund, right? Every month, I do not feel like doing that. But at the end of those 12 months, I will feel great because I'm like, oh, I'm good. I have a savings account or enough money into my account just in case anything goes wrong, and I'm so self-disciplined to not touch it for those reasons. Um, so also, you don't want to you don't want to change your spending habits, right? You don't want to stop buying clothes. You don't want to stop buying the most expensive brand food or whatever it may be. You just don't want to change. And that is okay. But throughout this, you're not going to be able to make more and spend less. So, um, all right. So here is another individual that I work with. Her name is Chandler, and when it came to making more and spend less, I felt like she was great, a great example of an individual who is willing to change, willing to take some advice from the program, and willing to have some extra money for some of her financial goals. So she says after using a grocery tip that was listed in this program, she was able to save $70 a week on groceries. And so if you do the math, $70 a week being saved is like $3,000 saved in a year's period of time. So I want to let you hear from her in our conversation through Zoom.
I think you had suggested this. I went grocery shopping at like a lower cost grocery store because I think this is what messed me up. I was going to Harris Teeter all the time, and my groceries were expensive, so I went to Food Lion first and got most of the stuff that I could get, and then I went to I didn't even go to Harris Teeter. I only went to Harris Teeter today to get some salmon. That was it. I went to Target to get my like frozen stuff, and that was it. So, how much comparing? Because I just gave an idea, but it may not have worked. So, did you compare what you normally spend to what you spent today? And what was about $70 less. It was how much? About $70 less. $70? I usually spend like $180 on groceries. I spent like $110. Oh yeah, I gotta use you for that. I gotta use you for a recommendation for that.
So that it brings joy to me to see other individuals really taking it into their own hands, really beginning to take the information that they're learning and to begin implementing. It's just so eye opening to see, and being able to save $3,000 just with a change of habit. It is awesome. So um, it's amazing. All right. So step number 3 is to educate and then implement, right? And that's pretty much what I've stated. And what do I mean by this, right? Well, we want to learn how the wealthy think, right? Not how the poor think, not how the middle class think. We want to learn how the wealthy think. We want to take the time to learn about money, learn uh, how it's used, learn how the wealthy use it. We want to learn the financial terms, simple terms like interest, ROI, which is your um, return on investment. Just the simple terms, it's called financial literacy. But those terms that can really help you understand if your money is doing what it needs to do, which is to grow. And then using knowledge, books, whatever plans, whatever it may be, to your advantage. So once you have the information, how can you use it to your advantage? If you play video games, right? If you have a certain skill, if you know a certain control that you have to be able to use on someone to fake them out, to juke them out, um, or to get them to have the lower hand against you, if you've implemented that, then you're at the advantage, right? Um, and then lastly, just implementing strategies to actually build wealth. All right. So, why is this important? Well, knowledge is power, right? The more knowledge you have, uh, the potential you're very powerful. And I'll give an example. This is why they don't want individuals that are doing investments and things like that to be in cahoots and telling exactly what they're doing with their money. Like a lot of that stuff is private, because if you know someone's next move, then you can act accordingly. So knowledge is very powerful. Um, I had another thing that I was gonna say, but maybe it'll come back to me. Anyways, what you don't know could be hurting you. So uh, if you don't know that the world is marketing to you to get you to buy so that it takes up your money so that you're not able to invest it, uh, then that simple thing could be really hurting you. And that's just one example. Um, and the faster you implement, the faster things get better. So if it's just like with anything else, if you're 10 years behind, it's just going to be, harder for things. You're not going to be where somebody else is. It just doesn't work like that. Like, that time is very important. Like, who you are today is not who you was back when you were 5 or 6 years old. Like, over time, uh, you got older, you grew, things happen. So, all right. So, what happens when you start actually educating yourself and implementing some of the strategies and education that you take in? Well, your mindset changes. It was a big shift for me. Um, what I thought was uh, flashy and look good. It's a turn off to me now. This is a lot of things that just changed my mind. Um, you think long and hard before spending. This is crucial. Like, you value your money a lot more. Um, you make decisions that will really make sure that the hard earned money and all the time that it took you to make that money, you will spend so much time actually deciding whether you want to put it back out there, right? Um, this can help you not live paycheck to paycheck, and it can help you to start building wealth. All right, so why do most people actually not educate themselves and actually implement some of the strategies? Well, first of all, they feel like reading is not for them. They don't have enough time to read. Reading is boring. These were all things I said um, at one point. I did not read a book. Let's bring some transparency to this session. I did not read a book all the way through from, let's say, middle school. I stopped reading. So in middle school, I would BS my way through classes, not read the books. High school, I got even worse about it. And then in college, I was horrible about it. So I didn't read a book all the way through until after I graduated from college. And so it enlightened me to see, wow, this is some very powerful information, and all this stuff that I was like, I don't want to hear this. It really kind of soaked in. Like, this is important stuff. Um, People think money is simple. You just make money, you spend money, and when you need more money, you just go to work. Um, and if that is you, that is okay. Like, if you're at peace, you have everything you need, you're reaching your financial goals, you're satisfied, you're not financially frustrated, cool. Um, or it will take forever to benefit from the strategies, right? So, if you know that if you begin a strategy and it's going to take you a year or 2 years to actually start bringing in some decent money from it, um, they say it's not worth it. And so that is okay as well for the individuals who are financially at peace and are okay. That is completely fine. But these are some of the reasons why people actually don't educate themselves or implement some of the things that they learn about. All right. So here is Tyler. I don't have a video from him. Me and him made a TikTok that was pretty cool. Or not a TikTok, an Instagram reel that was super dope. Um, and he mentioned about, how some of the audiobooks that he learned or that he listened to really helped him and really opened his mindset and eyes to how money works. And so a book that I suggested, and these books are on YouTube. Just do some research, please, please, please do some research and look for some of these things. You have a bunch of free resources out there, right? And so this book was Before You Quit Your Job by Robert Kayasaki. I actually quit my job for a few months before reading this book, which is crazy. But a lot of the things that he talked about was very true about how income works, about how business works, about how you have to be able to understand a lot of different things when it comes to money. And so by him reading that and listening to that audiobook, like it really opened his eyes, probably kept him from making a mistake of quitting his job too soon. So yeah. All right. So what we've learned so far. So we've learned some of the top 3 mistakes to keep you financially stuck. We have learned what to do instead with the 30-day wealth building framework. And you're here today because why? Well, you want to create a simple, solidified budget. You want to create a good budget that will work for you, right? You want to be able to document where your money's going, how you're spending it, um, so that you're in control of your finances. You want to properly manage your money. You don't want to be overspending, right? And you've heard about building wealth before, and today you are literally wanting to take action. And as well as you want to have, a cushion in your bank account so that you're at peace, right? You're at peace with your money. You're at peace with yourself. You're not worried about if something goes wrong, what the heck you're going to do. So today is the day to actually take action, right? Well, if you are ready to take action, I do want to offer you all some free resources as well as paid resources, right? So I would love for you all to actually subscribe and check out the Coach James YouTube channel. On this channel, I will be providing financial literacy and educational resources for you to explain a lot of these difficult terms, a lot of things that you can begin learning about to actually understand how money works, right? I also will be creating content on my social media platforms, um, specifically Instagram Reels, TikTok, so that you all, can kind of get a glimpse of the things that are going on. I will keep up with how budgeting changes, how inflation affects your budget, just some of those simple things that you need to know. So be sure to make sure you're staying up to date on those platforms. And then as well as the 2022 Coach James Budget Planner. And that is a mistake. That is not free. That is on one of my paid resources. Um, but you can check that out on Amazon. It's a great book for those who are looking to actually write out physically your expenses. It has budgets for specific things like vacations, and trips that you may want to take. It has things like a Christmas budget. So if you want to have a limit for every single expense that takes place with purchasing people's gifts, you can write that in there. Of course, you got your all of your information on your regular bills. You have a bill checklist, so every time you pay a bill, you can check it off. And then you have a section in there that's budget specific for your birthday. So if you're one that likes to do it up big on your birthday, it's there for you. So check that out on Amazon. It's not that much. Um, as well as there is a paid resource where you can work with me one-on-one. And I would love to work with you for 4 weeks, really 5, and I will put my all into you and give you everything you need as far as we'll walk step by step on how to create a budget. By the time you end the program, you will have a solidified budget with me. You'll have plenty of videos on financial literacy. You'll have tutorials on how to invest in things that will generate you income, like dividends. You will have a ton of resources. So if you're interested in any of these resources, I'm going to leave all of the links down in the description. Um, and I think we have just touched 1 hour, and I hope this was 1 hour of value to you. So again, if you found some value out of this video, be sure to put this on your story. Just take a screenshot of the training session and at me at __ Coach James. And like I said, I appreciate you all for your time. And I look forward to hearing from you. And I look forward to working with you. So peace.